Hi, thank you for joining us again at the Law Abiding American for part 2 of why we need to stop the gosafe Act. Now, just to remind you, the gosafe Act is to take away your firearms, basically almost all firearms, and we cannot allow this because they are going against what the American people want. Now, in my opinion, which is my opinion in the first video as well as this one, our senators and congressmen, or representatives, let me say that, who put forth this bill have violated their oath of office. Now that oath of office is there for a reason, so that we can depend upon them upholding what they're supposed to be doing. And that oath of office clearly states that we shall support and defend the Constitution of the United States, which means that is the way it stays written. Now, when they violate their oath of office, they are committing treason against you and I by trying to change something or take away something that you are allowed to have by rights. When they violate their oath of office, they can be taken into impeachment process by other members of Congress. But this is rarely done or never done. Why? If you've got somebody violating your oath of office, why aren't you getting them out of there? They are not for the people. They need to be removed from office. It's just like when during the Biden administration, all these illegals coming into America, every one of them criminals that came in illegally. Was anything said? Was anything done? No. Did they violate their oath of office doing that? Yes. They violated their oath of office. They violated their oath of office. Why? Now, the Constitution does not specifically say who can be an immigrant and who can't. But it does state that Congress has a right to make the laws for this, and that is what they did. Those laws were not followed. But I'll get into this into another video. Now, this is why the oath of office is so important, because we need to be able to depend upon our representatives doing what we hired them to do. They represent us. We don't work for them, they work for us. The Second Amendment is there to stay, and we need to ensure that. Now, I know that you and I have seen a lot of stories out here where people are committing violent crimes with guns, knives, whatever. They're captured, they're sent to court, and then they're released and sent back out on the streets. And what happens? They commit those crimes again. Why are we doing this? Now, taking the guns away from people is not going to stop the criminals from committing violent crimes. All it does is affect the law-abiding citizen and turn them into victims, not wolves. So, when you get this problem going on, it doesn't work. To solve this problem, our representatives need to go after the criminal, not the tools that they use. Because the tool that they use is neither good nor bad. It is only controlled by a good or bad individual. But this is what our government does not want to do. My opinion is if you have somebody that goes out and commits a violent crime against a person with a gun, with a knife, whatever, and it is solid, concrete evidence of them doing it, they need to be tried, convicted, and dealt with by whatever they've done to that person. If they've killed them, by God, give them the death penalty. But don't do it in private like they do today. Put it out in the public. Show people what happens. This person committed this crime. He did it for this reason, whatever. We found him guilty. He is now being sentenced to death. And do it. And then by explaining to the people, this is what happens, now you're focusing on hurting the criminal and not the law-abiding citizen. That will help dissuade them from committing those crimes because they don't want that to happen. Most criminals work on fear. Fear of hurting fear of harming somebody. The laws we have in this nation do more to protect criminals than they do the law-abiding citizen. That needs to change. And this is what our representatives should be focusing on. Not these BS gun laws that don't work. I mean, they've been around for decades. They haven't done any good. Let's look at alcohol. The prohibition. They outlawed alcohol. Did they stop people from buying it and drinking it? No. Somebody wants to do it, they're going to do it. That's criminal. Did they stop the drugs that come into this country that have been around since, I know, at least the 60s, maybe even the 50s, or further back? No. Why? They can't do it. Because you can't stop the criminals. They don't care. It is the same way with gun laws and violent criminal actions. You will not stop somebody from committing a crime. Now I'm going to go back to, I believe it's around 1977, and I believe the person that committed this was Timothy McVeigh. He blew up that federal building in Oklahoma using what? Diesel fuel and fertilizer. Do we outlaw that now? I mean, should have we? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Criminals will find whatever they need to do whatever they want to do in the heinous crimes they commit. I remember another story. I don't remember the city or stuff, but the story was about a criminal who had committed violent acts against people. He was caught. He was taken before the court, released without bail, if I remember correctly. And he took I think it was either a Ford Bronco or a Chevy Blazer or something like that, and drove it through the middle of a parade, killing more people. He didn't care. Criminals do not care about the law. They don't follow the law. So when you put up these bills that say, hey, we need to take the guns out of there, they only affect the law-abiding. Criminals don't buy their guns in gun stores. They either steal them, get them on the black market, or some other way. That's how they get their guns. They don't walk into gun stores. Because if they go in there and say they're not a felon, they've committed a felony on the form because they filled it out incorrectly. Another way they can do that is with straw purchases. But the law-abiding people, they need to stop blaming us for something that somebody else is doing and stop trying to take away a tool that helps us stay away from being a victim. And that is exactly what they're doing. Now, we need to stop these people by doing whatever we need to do. And it's my opinion that right now we should be recalling every one of these senators for doing this. One other thing that I think should also be done is that any senator, congressman, or whoever, or representative that writes one of these bills, promotes this bill, anyone that signs on to this bill and or votes for any kind of gun control should be forced immediately to have all government protection removed, all of it. Also, it would be illegal for them to have any private security of any kind, so that they actually have to live the same way they are making the law-abiding citizens live, as victims. I think this would be one of the most best laws we could ever pass. Now, the senators that are doing this, I'd like to read real quickly, are Mark Kelly, Martin Heinrich, Michael Bennet, Tim Kaine, Tammy Duckworth, Sheldon Whitehouse, Jeannie Shaheen, Alex Padilla, Chris Van Holden, John Fetterman, Edward Markey, Ron Wyden, Mazie Hirono, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, and one independent, August King Jr. 0 Republicans have signed on to this bill. We need to get this stopped. Hopefully I don't have to remake this again, because I already made it once and it ended up being too long, which is why we're 2 videos now. I'm also going to put some links in my description that you can go to see what this is and what can happen when they do not follow their oath of office. Because anybody submitting these types of bills, in my opinion, have failed their oath of office, as they have done with many other things like immigration and so forth. So again, I'd like to thank you for your time. I thank you for joining me here, and I hope this has been informational to you. God bless America. God bless the American people. Have a blessed day.